And what we're about to show is yet another example of a company, which I'm about to say yet another. It's not that many examples of it. Understanding what it is they're good at and sticking to what they know. Not trying to overdo things, not trying to go crazy and sacrificing the core audience, which is what you see out of modern comic books so much. Well, you have a core audience, and they're not going to change like the core aspect of their games and their approach to games for the sake of building a bigger audience. FromSoftware has done a great job of doing that, no matter how it is that you feel about like those games. It's those FromSoftware makes the games that they're gonna make, and yes, difficulty is a big part of it. And the Elden Ring director, as we're being reported yesterday, said they won't stop making difficult games. It's our identity. So let's read into this. I'm reading this from Metro. The creator of Elden Ring says challenging games will remain a key part of FromSoftware's identity for the foreseeable future. When it comes to the discourse on video game difficulty, you will always find FromSoftware's work at the very heart of it. The key selling point of games like Dark Souls and the recently released Elden Ring is that you will be severely tested in terms of your perseverance and skill. And director Miyazaki is his last name or surname, whatever it is, who is responsible for creating Souls genre with 2009's Demon's Souls, has said that the studio is unlikely to stop making high difficult games anytime soon. It's a key part of its identity. Speaking to New York Times, he said, and I quote, "We are always looking to improve, but in our game specifically, hardship is what gives meaning to the experience. So it's not something we're willing to abandon at the moment. It's our identity." And I want to comment on that real quick. Remember when we had the discussion before, and I've seen games get broken, like completely broken, particularly online RPGs, get broken by trying to cater to the lowest common denominator regarding the skill and difficulty aspect of their game. And the argument that a lot of Redditors, which is where video games generally go to die, is, well, this will get them more support. So why would they have it skill gapped or skill locked in terms of a floor to where there's a barrier of entry more so? Why would they have that? And they should cater to little old Johnny who can't react worth shit or he can't time worth of shit, and therefore he's not going to be able to experience the story. How many streamers and other weirdos like that who say they can't experience the story and they don't want to get good? And I say to hell with them. You know why? Because there's other games to satisfy your need. If you want to play some sort of mindless fucking game where it doesn't require much skill, you don't have it anyway, and you want to experience the story, there's plenty of games out there that have difficulty adjustment in it. And a lot of those are, to be fair, like gimmicky, the way a lot of these games do difficulty, like just basically turning enemies into bullet sponges and shit. But what FromSoftware has done is built in, a lot of y'all thought I was crazy when I said this. Like you break the game essentially. If you make it to where there's a quote unquote, it's easy. You know, a lot of folks think, well, just add an easy mode. So you make the enemies dumber or make them more so like you can kill them. And like that literally would break the experience of your traditional FromSoftware game. Or you're talking about even the Soul series or even fucking Sekiro. Like these are that at that point, it's not the game. That's not what it is that they are built for. And they have said, you know what? This is what we've done. It's worked. It's worked. Now you can say you might not be into those games. I think Elden Ring has been the barrier of entry for a lot of people who have never played Souls games, particularly, or FromSoftware games, particularly because it's it has like the open world stuff. It's vast. It's more vast than what the old Souls games had ever been. And it can be attractive there. And there's a lot of people that were in for a rude awakening. Like a lot of people got it and thinking that it was just going to be some little mundane experience, that they had this cool story, but because it was highly talked about and touted about as the next big game, and it came out in a good time as well. And a lot of folks in for a rude awakening. They turn that on. I did that, and I told y'all that in my review. Like, a lot of y'all who gonna try to get this because it's the talk of the town right now are gonna hate this fucking game, and because it's not even built for you and mine, and you're gonna not like it. The animation locking, in terms of if you commit to an action, like you commit to an action, there's no animation cancel. It's just what it is. That's how those games have been built, and if you loved them before, you were gonna fucking love this game. It's basically a more vast fucking Dark Souls is what I would say this fucking game is. But a lot of you guys who aren't into those types of games aren't gonna like it. But the thing about FromSoftware that I love in terms of what it is they're doing is that they have said this is the type of games that we're putting out. This is our game. This is our identity. And we've built an audience. This is the core part. They've built a loyal audience who they can depend on in terms of their bottom line, right? And there's people that because they have, for better or worse, I think for better, obviously, but they had built a kind of identity, like my man said, and that they want to make sure that this is the experience of the general player base. And it's worked. You know why it's worked? Because they've been able to continue to fund these projects. And yeah, it's not going to generally be presented. Elden Ring has a chance, but a lot of these games don't generally get presented as, this the top game of the year. It has like kind of a niche. I don't want to say niche because a lot of people still play this shit. But it's a niche kind of its own genre, and a lot of people aren't into that type of shit. But that's fine. That's fine. See, it's just another example. We just did a segment not too long ago talking about this. If you have loyal customers, that's easy, man. That's a layup. Don't sacrifice, and this is what we've seen in so many modern forms of entertainment, or for the sake of trying to grow their brand, they have completely sacrificed their core audience. This is why comic books, I'm not talking about the movies, comic books right now are in the fucking tank. And even in the West, they're getting their ass kicked by manga. Because of exactly that. They started appealing or attempting to appeal to people that didn't read the motherfuckers. So you're writing books for non-comic book readers. And your core audience of comic book guys have said, I'm out. And you're left with a book or two that'll do well, generally centered around Batman, but for the most part, considering how many you put out, most of them are dead on arrival. This is what you don't do as a creator. FromSoftware is how you do it. There is nothing wrong. Yeah, there are going to be those games that have that wide appeal, and yeah, but if you already have something that works, you are making a grave mistake by trying to sacrifice your core audience for the sake of growing your audience. This seems kind of antithetical, but it's something that has been adopted by so many aspects of gaming that we have been covering on my main channel and my Young Rubber 59 Entertainment channel. What we've talked about, we've seen games get ruined in real time. Why? Because the devs, and I don't know if it's because of the suits are making it this way. The devs are saying, we want to be the master of fucking none, right? Sure, we had a decent vision, and yeah, it may have not gotten us the biggest pool of supporters, but it would have got a pool, nonetheless, of people that were willing to spend up money on our projects and would have been funding our future projects. But instead, you became the master of none, and you ran your game into the fucking ground. And, it's a mundane experience and all of that, but hey, it's easily accessible because everybody's obsessed with that term now regarding gaming. And now, again, we ain't talking about some old fucking, even with the disabilities thing, right? Like this idea that every single game must cater to every single individual is just fucking stupid, man. It's dumb, but it's an expectation that has not happened where people feel like, well, I'm being gated and therefore there's something wrong with you. It's like, nah, yeah, that may make sense for that group of people, even from a disability standpoint, not exclusively. I think skill and all of that has to do with it. Reaction speed has to do with all that shit as well. But even if, there's certain games that are out there that are completely trying to encompass or embody or have those people that are, that have those deficiencies and include them. But other games say, no, that's not the type of game that we want to build. There is nothing wrong with that. Nothing. There's nothing wrong with that. For whatever reason, people have now made it a crime in the entertainment space. They've made it a crime that you would ever not make something that everybody can access. Like, it's not a crime, bro. There's nothing wrong with that. You can't access it. That's fine. You're more of a casual gamer. That's fine. There's many games out there for you. But FromSoftware has said, we have our audience. They love our shit. They have carried our company, and we're going to continue to make games with those guys in mind. That is our identity. And if you don't like it, fine. But there are other games that maybe take you into consideration. You just listened to a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake, which is live throughout the week at 12 p.m. Central on youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. Be sure to check out my website, ericdjuly.com, so you can stay up to date with everything it is that I'm doing. You can also become a member and get access to a bunch of cool perks and exclusive content, which includes a social media hub where you can interact with myself and other members. It even has an app that you can get, which is now live in the Google and Apple stores.